Okay, so as I mentioned, this is Agency Express training. This is your guide for agency partners to online ordering through the website. So a brief overview of Agency Express. It's a web-based tool that is sponsored by Feeding America. That's how we have access to it, which will allow you to shop and do online ordering. So the shoppers, which will be you, can use Agency Express to search for items we have available, view any of the item details. Then you'll ultimately submit the order to us, and we review the status of the orders, and then ultimately we submit those for processing, and then they get into your hands, whether by pickup or delivery. Agency Express is a web page, so it is accessible anywhere at any time, pretty much from any device. We will need to have the instructions read thoroughly through this so you understand like how to do it and whatnot, but we'll go through that together, so shouldn't be an issue. And so these are just the following basic things we require to start using Agency Express. So you can do it through a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone, whatever you're comfortable with. You'll have to have internet access and then a web browser. So those are just the basic fundamentals on how to be able to access it. For the user activation, Rachel had sent to you all last week. If you didn't receive it, let us know, but should have received an email with your login information that has your username and password to get into the website, as well as the link for that. So we've set up everyone on this call to be a shopper with your organization. If you feel that you'll need an additional shopper at your organization, someone not that is not yourself, please let us know so we can set them up with their own account. It's more preferred to have their own account as opposed to like sharing yours, so that we can tie certain orders to certain accounts. So you should have that information in your inbox. If you don't, please do let us know. And so how do we get to Agency Express? There's a couple different ways. Obviously, you need to open your web browser. I usually use Google Chrome, but if you have Firefox, Internet Explorer, you could also use that as well. And also, I forgot to mention, but we'll be sending out all these slides to you after the call too, so you'll have access to all of this information. But this is the website. We recommend you save it or just favorite it to like your bookmark bar or something so that you can access it more frequently. And Emily, we're getting started in Agency Express, but it'll be recorded for anything you do miss in the beginning. We also have under our agency partner portal, which is located on Feeding San Diego's website. This is linked here. There's also a section where you'll have the link to Agency Express as well here. So a couple different places you'll be able to access it, but in case you do forget where it is, it's always going to live on our Feeding San Diego website. So that is how you will be able to access the link. And then once you get to the website, it'll ask you obviously to log in. So here's where you're going to input the username Rachel sent you, as well as the password. So the password does default to this change 12. Once you log in for the first time, you can change it to be your own personal password. You'll just go to change password in the help menu, which I'll show you next. And then the program code, which I'll go into more in depth, but it'll always stay the same with the 0077 as that relates to Feeding America or Feeding San Diego's Feeding America number, and then PP and your 4-digit agency ID number that you should be used to using. So when you do log in to reset, or you forgot your password, or maybe you forgot the program code for either of those two sections, when you log in here, you can just click forgot password or forgot program code. That'll lead you to the next page where you can reset your password, which will look like this window. And then additionally, if you forget the program code, it'll prompt you to the same thing. It'll pull up a new window, and you can just look for Feeding San Diego here, which will be the 0077. So both of those shouldn't change, but if you do forget, there's always a link where you can press to get that information as well. So that's how to access that from the login. Once you have a successful login, it'll prompt you to say, welcome to Agency Express. There will be an activity status alert here. So sometimes we'll have certain information on there. If you need to say, we're closed for 4th of July, please submit your order earlier, things like that would be located in this activity status alert. So right when you log in, it'll be like a pop-up. You can just press close after you've read it. And then additionally, the welcome screen is displayed like this. So make it a little bigger. but it'll have all these tabs at the top, which I'll go over a little more in depth in the next few slides. But this is where all of your navigating will come from, is like that first welcome screen, I'm sorry. So like I said, in the welcome screen, there's a couple different links that you will want to utilize. The first one, as the arrow points, is going to be order options. So this will link to the scheduler, which allow you to choose your delivery day and time, the shopping list, so the available food you can order from, as well as being able to check out with your order and manage any orders you previously submitted. So most of your options will be found under this option tab, which might be something that you're utilizing frequently. The food bank links, so the number 2 will be links to our partner portal if you want to access any resources, our Find Food Map if you need to share that with any clients, as well as just our general main website in case you need any additional resources from there. So those 3 are linked under food bank links. The number 3, the help section, that contains the links if you do need to change your password, like we previously mentioned, or if you just need to report a problem to us. There's a section where you can fill that out and it'll go directly to our email inbox. So you can also utilize the help function there. And then ultimately, number 4 would just log you out of the system in general. So those are described there. Okay, so under the order options tab, which I mentioned would probably be your most frequented tab, there's a couple different options as you drop it down. So the first one would be your scheduler. This page, like I mentioned, will schedule your delivery or pickup day and time. So you can utilize that to set that. We already have them preset based on your frequency. You know, if you get a delivery every Monday between 10 to 12, those will already be preset. So you'll see those show up. For the shopping list, like I said, this will be the list of current available items that you can order from. And then checkout, so this will bring you, this page will bring up your appointment time that you've selected, any reference number for an order you've created, as well as a shopping cart summary and a section to leave any important notes you'd like for any of our teams to receive once you submit the order. And then order management will show all your past orders, similar to how you can log in for Amazon. You can click yourself, you can look at your past orders. It's a similar type of model that'll show you anything that's been ordered previously. And so I'll start going over these a little bit one by one. For the scheduler, this is those 2 different sides will show you. One of them is for deliveries only. One of them is for pickups only. So if you do receive a delivery from us, your appointment will show up. We've pre-populated them, so you should see them show up in green under My Appointments. So you'll go into that scheduler tab, like I mentioned, and then it'll show My Appointments with all your appointments that you've scheduled. If you see your slot time in green, as mentioned, you don't need to schedule anything further on this screen. But if you don't see your slot time, like a frequented delivery that you have, please reach out to your partnership coordinator. We may have some syncing issues in the back end, so we want to address that so you get your delivery on time. And then unfortunately within the scheduler, as the shopper, you can't change any of the schedules or anything in here. So we will have to have you contact your partnership coordinator because you can't do it internally here. You have to do it from the back end. So if you see issues with your scheduled deliveries here, just reach out to us and we can make some edits for you. And then the second option is for pickup appointments. So at this time, we are only able to support agencies who serve 50 households or less, which I don't believe is anyone on this call. But for agencies who serve 50 households or less, they would do the same type of steps, but instead of selecting delivery, they select pickup as their option. And same thing, you would see the green for your pickup option, and it'll say pickup under type as opposed to delivery. And then you'd click on the icon and select the time for the pickup window. So, and then ultimately you click on reserve here, and that'll allow you to reserve the pickup time. But like I said, probably shouldn't apply to anyone here, but if you do have a situation where you just need to pick up the order, you can contact us and we can see if we're able to accommodate that. So the next question would be, okay, I set my schedule. I know when I want the delivery. How soon can I start ordering? So you can begin your order 6 calendar days prior to your delivery or pickup. You can check or you can check the active ordering days by going to the scheduler and selecting pickup and then looking at the calendar. So it'll pull up a calendar, and I'll show you in the next few slides that'll show you the calendar should be open. If it's not open, you'll see a strike through that day, so you're not able to order on that day, but it should be open at least 6 days prior to your delivery date. We are asking for the deadline to order by 2 p.m. on the 4th business day before your delivery or pickup. We're kind of playing with this timeline, so we'd love your feedback as you go through to figure out, like, hey, 2 p.m. is in the middle of the day, doesn't work for us. We'd prefer 4 p.m. or maybe give us till midnight or whatever it is. So we are asking for the order submission by 2 p.m. the 4th business day. 4 business days gives all the teams involved enough time to process your order, pull the order, and then ultimately load the truck for delivery. So that is the current schedule we're going off of. And so we created this little chart that should hopefully help, that if you have a delivery day or a pickup day, it should tell you when you need to submit your order prior to. Hopefully this is helpful for you all. But like I said, if you have feedback on this, we'd love to hear that as well. And then once you figure out, okay, I know when I'm gonna, I have my scheduled appointment, I know when I can start ordering. So now say it's the time, we're gonna go into, okay, now into the shopping list. So what I wanna order, what is gonna be best for my community. So the shopping list is again listed under order options, shopping list. So you can access it through here. And then once you get into the shopping list, you can do a couple different things in there. You can search specific items, like if you're just looking for canned soup or something like that, you can search something specific. The shopping cart displays the total number of items, as well as if you have any available credit limits and charges for the items. And then ultimately the shopping list will display the number of items available to your agency. So when you go into the shopping list, so I go to order options, I'll select shopping list, it'll pull me into this next window. So in this search section, like I mentioned, there's a couple different ways to search for an item you might be looking for. You can search by the item description. So if it's just like a canned good or something ready to eat, something like that, you can search the description. You can search by category as well as feature type. So sometimes we have free items available if we need to push it out of our distribution center quicker. New items, so something we might have added to inventory maybe today or in the past like 24 hours, as well as any discounted items. So maybe they've been in Agency Express for a week or two. We do need to continue to move the product. Sometimes you'll see those discounted. The handling requirements, so this would apply to if the item is refrigerated, if the item is frozen, or if the item is dry. So if you're looking for, specifically, we're just looking for frozen items, you could choose that as the selection. And then finally, I'll go into the next slide, but you can favorite items too. Like if you have, the specific type of dry beans, you're like, we love this, our community obviously loves this item, you can favorite that. So every time it's back into our system as an option to order from, you can favorite it so that it's easier access, or at least a little bit easier on your memory to remember, oh yeah, we did like this one, not having to go back to previous orders. So a way to do that is if you're in the shopping list and you see the item and it's something that you want to favorite so you can remember, you'll see the item here, and then you'll just click this. It'll show up as a box, but once you click it, it'll actually turn into a star. So that will allow you to see any favorites that you favorite here, and then I'll show you what it'll look like eventually when you go to your shopping list. You can filter by favorites as well. For the item details, so as we go through the shopping list, I'll go back to this slide, but if you say where you click on this blue where it says D0096, that's the item number, it'll pull up this window that shows the item actual details. So it'll give you a little more insight as far as the weight, if there's a price per pound, if it is an item that you may need to purchase, as well as like the pack size. And any other like handling requirements, if it might be a glass item or something like that, we'll also include that here. If it's vegan or vegetarian, we'll include it here too. So you can see a little bit more about the item before you put it in your cart to purchase it. So that's available to look at with the items. And then tied to the items will be a little bit of description. So most of our items are going to be available by case. So if you think about, I think about going to, I guess, Costco, you're getting like a case of 24, things like that. All of ours are going to be by case as opposed to weight. So hopefully visually that's better. And some of you that receive deliveries that get bulk items, that's what we kind of refer to as far as case goes. And we do want to just make sure everyone's paying attention to the description of the items, just to make sure you're ordering like enough for your organization, or maybe hopefully not too much, where you're like, I didn't mean to order 50 cases of means, I meant 5. So just to be close attention to certain things like that within the item descriptions. And then we might have some just like, I guess, abbreviations. So D would be dry goods, R might mean refrigerated, F might be frozen. So if you see those, that is what they may be relating to as far as the item goes. So that's a little about decoding descriptions, which will lie within the item details once you click on it. And then finally, if you're like, okay, I love this virgin olive oil, I'm going to add it to my cart. So what are the next steps? So what you would do next is you want to add it to your cart, similar to how you're checking out online at most online ordering or shopping apps. You'll put in the amount you want in this quantity of order. So again, it's right here in this section. You'll say, okay, I want 2 of these. So you put in the desired quantity, and then next you'll want to make sure that you add to cart button. If you don't do add to cart, then it won't know that you want that item. So essentially you put in the quantity and then add to cart. And then finally, if you are successful in adding it to your cart, it'll have this little pop-up that says item added to cart. But if there's an error, then it will tell you that it wasn't able to add to your cart. And then as you begin adding things to your cart, you'll see at the far right, where on the top of like the options were, this number next to the cart will show how many items you have in your cart. So it'll start to accumulate as you add things to your cart. Okay, so you have everything in your cart, everything looks good. Now you're ready to check out. So the next steps would be, once you finish shopping and finding all the items you want, just to go in and review the items in your cart to make sure everything looks good. You'll want to have an appointment here. So this one isn't filled out right now, but it would say, Monday, what's the end of Monday? I was gonna say Monday the 19th. The date would be like between 12 to 2 p.m. And then any comments, maybe, if there's special like delivery instructions or anything like that, you can add into the comment section. And then you'll want to go to, so you'll see your appointments located here. It'll be the one that you already selected once you were in your scheduler. The shopping cart summary. So this will have how much is due, if there's any available credit limit on your account, and then the total pounds of your order. And then this is your actual shopping cart. So these are the items that are living in your shopping cart. So that'll be your next screen. Okay, you're ready to check out. So you reviewed your cart, everything looks good. Now you're ready to check out. If you wanted to make any adjustments before you finally check out, you can change this quantity, or you can fully just delete the whole item in general, which would just have you marking the red X. And then those things would go out of your cart. If you do make any updates on the very last stage of this when you check out, you just want to update your cart so that it retotals everything. Because there's going to be a couple different agencies ordering at the same time, as you update your cart, you might see that something may turn to 0. It could be that someone checked out before you and had the item in their cart. So just to be mindful of, like, when you're done shopping, you'll want to make sure that you check out so that you get the items that you need. But in the case you do see it get zeroed out to a quantity, you'll just want to do the X so that it takes it out of your cart, and then you can go back to the shopping list if you want to look for something else, or you can just check out. So like I mentioned before, this is a little bit more of a breakdown for the actual shopping cart. But the total due will be the total fees that are charged to your agency for this order. This is just a mock order, so these numbers definitely aren't accurate at all. This is the total gross weight of all the items, any available credit limit. So if you have a credit limit, it'll change based on putting things in and out of your cart. The total line items is how many items you actually have in your cart. So this one was only 1 item, but if you had 4 or 5, that would show up there. And then this will be the total volume of this order. I would probably pay most attention to total due, gross weight, and then available credit limit are probably the main things. So after everything looks good, you check it, you're ready to submit your cart. So there'll be this far right icon that says submit cart. You'll see a pop-up come up that says, are you sure you want to submit? You'll press OK or cancel. But if you want to move forward with it, you press OK. After you press OK, you'll see that you'll get another pop-up similar to this one that says it was submitted successfully. So that means you've submitted your cart to us. Now it's going to be sent to the food bank for us to review. You will receive to your email a confirmation email that it's been acknowledged. So aka it's been received by Feeding San Diego. It might take about 15 minutes or so for it to reach your inbox. So once you click it, it's not super automatic. Maybe give it about 15, 20 minutes to make sure that it does say that it was submitted to us. And then you can also on that email is an order. So you can open that up and make sure all the items look correct, exactly what submitted on your cart. If you want to save that or forward that, we do recommend that as well. So that means you finally successfully checked out, okay, and we're acknowledging it. So if you want to just go back and say, okay, what was my order like, or what did I order again, or make any changes to it after you submit it, you can still totally do that. You would just go back to our favorite, the order options tab, and then it'll be the drop down order management. So like I said before, this is where it shows everything you've previously ordered. If you want to search for something specific, you can do that here. If you want to print the invoice, there's like this little printer icon, you can do that. If you're still able, so if you want to add on to an existing order, you do have a little bit of time. So if you do see a pencil right here, that means that you still have time to make any edits to your order. It'll reopen your shopping cart and allow you to add items at that time. This status will mean a couple different things, which I'll go into in depth. There's a few different statuses you'll see, but you can only add on to an order if it says, until the status it says the food bank only. So if it's still in acknowledge mode, you can still make edits to it, but once it says food bank only, it pretty much means that the order is locked and you can't make any edits to it. And then finally, this box will tell you the total numbers of orders you have that you placed through Agency Express. So that is a little reference on order management if you want to take a look at it. And then there's a lot of text on this one, but this also goes a little more in depth to order management. But there's a couple different options here you can do. So once your order is placed, you'll be redirected to this page where, like I said, you can see a couple different options here. It'll take 30 minutes for your order to be ultimately submitted to our inventory team. So there's a couple different, you can make any changes to it once it's acknowledged, like I said, so it means we received it, you can still make edits to it. If it still says sent to food bank, which hopefully it doesn't, after 30 minutes, then there's an error on our side, so we'll need to look into it. But yeah, there are a couple different options here, so let me get into them. So the order status, like I mentioned, this status column is something you'll want to pay attention to because the statuses will mean a few different things. So if it's showing a draft order, that means that a shopper has started it, you all have started it, but the cart's not submitted. So it'll show a status as draft. So you'll want to, if you want to submit that, you'll need to go in there and make sure that it's submitted on time before the deadline. If the status says new order, that means you successfully created a new order. And if you want to delete that order, you can do it by clicking that red X like we showed earlier. If the status says sent to food bank, that means the order has been submitted to the food bank and no changes can be made to the order while in this status. If it shows acknowledged in the status column, that means your order has been received by our system. And you can still make edits to it. So you can delete the order, or you can, like I said, click on that pencil and you can continue shopping. But then after you submit your cart, you want to make sure you go back and go into order management and make sure that the status has changed. Finally, this will be the next stage, so it's released. That means that the order has been completely processed and can no longer be changed, so it's been released by our order fulfillment team. There's no edits that can be made to it. If the order is showing editing, that means that you went to an existing order to make changes, but you didn't resubmit the cart. So you could go from draft to editing, but we want to make sure you finally, when you're fully done, you want to make sure you submit it so that you don't go without maybe forgetting to submit your cart. You can still cancel your order. So if you say, never mind, I don't want this order, you could do the red X, and that means that it would be canceled by you, the shopper. If it was rejected, it means that it could be rejected from the Feeding San Diego side. So if you're showing a rejection sign, our team will reach out to you, but you're also welcome to reach out to us if you want to discuss. But I don't believe that should happen frequently if you have everything set up. But in the case that it does, we will communicate that to you. And then the very last step would be invoice. So that means that the order has been finally delivered to you, the recipient. And the invoice will be generated on your account since the time your account was authorized to order online. So you will still get those invoices like you do through Series when the order has been delivered to you. So you should still get those, but also you'll see in the status column that it'll be invoiced. There's another section up here about editing and canceling orders. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. I'll send you this slide to review it a little bit, but if it's still in draft in the red X, you're welcome to cancel it or edit it. As far as invoicing, so invoices can be, they cannot be found on Agency Express. So our Agency Express talks to our internal inventory system. So that is why we're only able to send invoices to our internal inventory system. But you should get it on the day of your delivery, another invoice as well. We can send the invoices to a total of 2 email addresses. So I believe everyone on this call should probably at least be getting the invoice, but if you have a secondary email you want it to go to, maybe like your treasurer or someone like that, we can add an additional email address. If you do not see your invoice in your inbox, we encourage you to check your spam or junk folder that could be in there as we try this new system. It might automatically go to people's junk or spam folder. And then any of your orders showing on the order management, so the options menu, order management, that can be used as a recap if you want to remember what items did I use again, what did we get last month, you can review those there. And then, but ultimately the invoice that you receive on the day of your delivery should be your main source for the most accurate items that you receive. You may also have noticed our emails for your invoices will be coming from our receivables. So that's managed by our finance team. So the emails will be coming from them. If they're not, please let us know so we can make corrections on the back end. And right now for paying for invoices, which I believe you're all familiar with, we can accept check, or we can also now start to accept online payment. So it's through Clover. We're working on an ACH payment to be set up in July. So it's hopefully easier on you all to help submit any invoices that you have. But for the meantime, we'll be sending Clover invoices where you can pay online through our platform. And then ultimately, this is just some slides you can review too if you have any troubleshooting. So some of the questions I went over or some of the slides, we tried to address them in these 2 slides. So there'll be 2 slides on troubleshooting. However, if you do get stuck, you can reach out to myself or Rachel or any of your partnership coordinators, and we can help hopefully get you unstuck on certain steps. So that is the overview I have on the presentation. I want to go over some additional information not related to this, but I'll pause and see if there's any questions before I move on to additional information. And I totally recognize that was a lot of information. It's a lot of information for us too, as we've learned and absorbed a lot of this. So if you also don't have any questions now, if something comes up in the next few days, you can email us as well, and we'll be happy to help you. So, yeah. And maybe this will help too. I have this is the website. So we have a live test environment, but the one we're having you all practice in is we're calling it our sandbox test environment. So we have everything in our test environment just so we don't break anything in the live environment. But you all would use your username here, the password we provided you, and then your program code. You'll see I have a lot here, but ultimately you'll do the 0077 and then PP and your 4-digit number. So you'll be able to log in. I have a different view than you all because I have the admin access, but once you log in, you'll see it's their Agency Express testing site. And at the top, you should have some options that say order options. You'll see your scheduler, you'll see the shopping list. So that should all look similar to the slides, maybe a little bit different, but you should have the login that will allow you to access this. Yeah, with that, let's see. Okay, so yes, I know that was a lot of information, and we do appreciate your all's feedback as we obviously are learning together. As you go in and you'll see your scheduler, your choose your appointment, you'll see just a few items available to order right now, which are kind of just mock items at this point. We're working to add a little bit more items right now just for the trial phase, but we have some syncing issues, so you should see more items hopefully be on inventory by next week. But these are just mock items and they'll be mock orders, so there's nothing real. So feel free to do whatever you want in there. You won't break anything, and we can always cancel or edit any of the orders or, that you submit. So yeah, so next steps is that you should, like I said, you should have your logins, but if you don't, please reach out to Rachel and she can help to resend those to you. And as our pilot agencies, we will ask just a few things of you. So by next week, if you can just log in, try and create like a test delivery, pick your scheduler or pick your scheduled time, put some items in there, and then try and check out. We'd ask for you to help us with that. And then as you move through those, just note any, sections on our training or within the actual platform itself that say like, this didn't really make sense to me, or I feel like this was confusing, or I did like this, or I didn't like this. Any of the feedback as far as like how the presentation flows, the training flows to the website. We'd love any of that feedback as well. I'll send you this presentation after the call is over, as well as these additional instructions on, what kind of information we'd like you all to provide us. But essentially, if you have time by next week to log in, do an order or two. We'd love to reconvene with you all the week of the 26th to review any of these topics or any feedback that you have. We will look to go live. We'll go from our sandbox test environment to our live environment by the beginning of July. So we're hoping that everything will be ready to go by then, so you can actually place real orders and get deliveries with the actual items that you do choose through choice. So that is our goal within the beginning of July, is after we have feedback from you all, make sure everything on our back end is working, that we can at least have our pilot agencies, which is 5 agencies right now, place some real orders and then have us process them and then ultimately deliver them to you. So a lot of information. Yeah. Like I said, I'll email this all to you now after this call, but is there any initial questions or feedback I can answer now or anything like that? Yes, Carolina.
Does this mean that if we get a delivery with canned and dry goods, that is gonna stop?
No, so we won't have your current delivery stop until you fully transitioned into Agency Express. So everything will continue as normal until like ourselves and you all are ready to actually start ordering on your own. And we'll definitely give you at least a few weeks heads up before that starts, so that you can plan accordingly for your deliveries and for your food procurement and things like that.
So in that order, if we have getting a delivery of produce, which is usually free of charge, that is still gonna happen. Not in It doesn't have any involvement with Agency Express.
Yeah, so right now, we are looking at the option for if you wanted to add produce to your order.
Okay.
We'll have a line in there in the shopping cart that'll just be, it'll say it's for apples, but we're using it as a placeholder for produce. So you would just put essentially 1 in there for quantity. We know how many households you serve, and so when you submit your cart with the 1 quantity of produce, our order fulfillment team will go in and update the weights, because those are the right weights. And then we'll invoice it out to you. We won't be charging for the actual cost of the produce for Agency Express, but we will have an option in there for you to add just a line item for produce, so that alerts our team you'd like produce on your order.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question now then.
Yeah.
So when this program is implemented, the deliveries that we get every other week will stop then? Did I get that right or no?
They won't stop, but it will require you to go in and do your ordering yourself. So right now, like, as you know, we've been ordering essentially for you.
Yes.
With the push items. So you will still have like the same ability, like the same windows and delivery schedule, but now it'll be the responsibility on the organization, the agency, to go in and choose which items you want. So yeah, it'll just be a little bit more for your organization's involvement in the ordering process.
And would you guys prefer that we keep the same days and time if we can?
Yes, at least for now, that seems to work for our transportation team and whatnot. But if you do need to change like a day or a time or anything like that, you can just let your coordinator know, and we can work on seeing if we can reschedule any of those to better fit your distribution needs.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question. Currently, we're not paying for the food, but we're paying for delivery. What's going to change with that?
The delivery will be, I believe, 1 cent per pound. So it'll just depend on how much or how little you're ordering. And it'll be calculated as you are an Agency Express. So you should be able to see, based on how much weight you're ordering, what the cost of that would be. So it's not going to be a flat rate. It'll be more dependent on the weight now.
And the food is being charged based on?
The food will be charged based on if it was a donated or a purchased product by the food bank. And you'll see that cost on the actual item description. So you can see how much it would cost for your food bank, but it will fluctuate based on how much we're procuring it for. So you'll see that evident Agency Express of how much certain items might be, because it'll definitely vary based on where we source it from.
So from month to month, even if you're ordering the same items, the cost for the same items could change based on where you got it.
Yeah, it's possible if we, change vendors, it could look like, the same dry beans, but maybe we got it from 2 different vendors. Maybe someone's local, maybe something we got from Feeding America. So the price may fluctuate a little bit. Hopefully not too much, but it is good to check those item descriptions or the item details, like we mentioned earlier, just to make sure it didn't change too much, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there I know that it's a little bit too early to ask that, but do you think that there will be a lot of items that will be free of charge or like a discount price, or how do you guys see that being a change for the nonprofits that you guys work with?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of hard for us to tell because we work really closely with our supply chain team, but the donations just are fluctuating so much. We're hoping that there'll be a good amount of items free of charge for you all to be able to purchase. We just aren't sure yet, but as soon as we have information, we can definitely provide that to you all. But yeah, not sure yet. But as we go through this with you all, if that's something you're looking for, we love that feedback as well, so we can talk to our procurement team to make sure they're getting hopefully items like that, which are desirable for agency partners. Yeah.
And then I just wanted to ask, just to confirm, so as we're going in and doing these test orders, will they won't be delivered, right? These are just test
No, yeah, they won't be
ones?
delivered. They'll just be like mock orders. So you'll continue to get your regularly scheduled delivery of how the current push model we kind of operate right now. But until we go live in July, and we'll, like I said, give you plenty of heads up before any of that happens. These are just test orders. Yeah, so you won't actually get the item. It's just kind of to like play around with a little bit. Yeah. All right, well, I'll send this presentation over to you all. You have your logins. I know some of you might be closed for Juneteenth on Monday, so at any point next week, if you can just go in, maybe place an order to provide us any feedback. We'll circle back with you all the week of the 26th and meet as a group and see what fun things we learned together and what hopefully good, bad, or ugly things we learned and broke the system or whatever it is. We'll learn at that time. But thank you all so much for joining us. I know you're all busy, but I hope you have a good rest of your day and take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.